child of a seamstress and a night shift security guard in the Rustville City, where the steel mill's long gone quiet. This first desk was a kitchen table. His first ambition was simply to make his mother stop worrying. He graduated high school with decent grades, a part-time job, and a scholarship that barely covered all semester. He enrolled anyway. He worked shifts on weekends and took 18 at a time to stretch over $1. He slept 4 hours a night and told himself that was enough. In the winter of his second year, inside him quietly broke. Not dramatically, not all at once, but the way old weird splinters in a slow pressure. He withdrew from 2 courses. Then by spring, he had left school altogether, carrying a duffel bag and a silence he couldn't to anyone who hadn't felt it themselves. The next 3 years were not a montage. There was no training set to swelling music. There were tear mornings when getting dressed felt like a negotiation. There were job applications that vanished without reply. There were nights calculated in precise detail. How far behind he was compared to every person he had grown up alongside. He worked at a print shop. He taught himself to code through free online courses in the evenings, often falling asleep at the keyboard. He applied to a junior developer role 17 times before getting an interview. He got the job on the 18th application at a company he had never heard of. For a salary that was modest, for a position that was not the arrival he had imagined. He took it without hesitation, without glamour. It doesn't feel like the last mile when you're in it. It feels like the middle. It feels like more of the same. It feels on the best days like evidence that the journey was never going to end and anything other than exactly this, ordinary, invisible, still trying. Mark has kept a single index card taped above his monitor. It said nothing motivational. It simply read, "Schwab again." That was the whole philosophy. Not believing yourselves, not greatness is within you. Just show of a one more time, because the day you don't show up is the only day that guarantees nothing happens. He spent years at that first company, learning everything they would teach him. He moved, then he built. Then at 31, he co-founded a software firm that helped small manufacturers digitize their operations. His ES exactly like the ones that had once laid off his father's friends. The firm was a unicorn. It was not on the cover of any magazine. It employed 41 people, paid them well, and stayed profitable for 3 economic downturns because had learned in that long middle how to do with less and deliver more. Success did not feel like victory. It felt like a Wednesday. It felt like showing up and realizing with quiet astonishment that again had finally become enough. Markus Osei's story is not exceptional because he overcame extraordinary obstacles. It is exceptional because the obstacles were ordinary, and he overcame them anyway. The broken semester, the silence that couldn't be explained, the small, unaerobic steps taken in the wrong shoes, on the wrong road, in weather no one would call inspirational. These are the materials most lives are actually built from, not grand moments of transformation, but the long, glamorous decision to keep going past the point where keeping going stops. Feeling normal. If you're in the middle now, if the finish line is invisible and the starting line feels embarrassingly recent, then this story is not here to tell you that you will succeed. No story can promise that. What it can tell is this: the people who finish are almost never the ones who have never fell. They are the ones who fell, rested, and then stood up one more time, and they sat down. That is not a small thing. That is, in fact, the whole thing. Show up again, like if you needed this. Share if someone else does. Subscribe, because more real stories are coming.